First up is Bone Tomahawk. This is a 2015 movie starring Kurt Russell, Patrick Wilson, number 5, Matthew Fox, Richard Jenkins, who looks nothing like his normal self, and Lily Simons. Yeah, that's how you say her name. Yeah, this is directed by the same guy who did Brawl in Cell Block 99. Yeah, he did this one first. And it starts off kind of a bit brutal, but then kind of turns just into more or less a regular Western for most of the movie. But then, like, the very end of the movie, like the last, I don't know, half an hour or so, it's almost like a straight horror film. But they build to it, and actually it makes a lot of sense. It's not just like, out of nowhere, now it's a horror movie. It's like, they've kind of been, like, laying the groundwork for all the really crazy, insane stuff that happens in the end that is very brutal and scary. So I did really like this movie. It was great. I think I liked Cell Block, the other one, Brawl and Cell Block 99, a bit more. The whole movie's solid, but I would say I really loved like that first half an hour where they like set up all the characters and stuff, because like they let, unlike regular Western movies, they let all the men be really emotional and stuff, and like I love the very intimate moments they had with their wives. And then they let all the women be smart. Like Patrick Wilson's wife is incredibly smart. She's the town doctor. Well, the real town doctor's a drunk, so she's the town doctor. And then another woman, the wife of the mayor, is basically the mayor. And there was a really cool bit where she's like, "You need to address the mayor when you're talking about this sort of stuff." And then Kurt Russell just like keeps talking to her because clearly she's the real person in charge. But yeah, and then like, so a lot of westerns can be racist. It's just like, oh, them white cowboys versus all them Indians. Let's go kill them Indians. And yes, all the main characters in here are white, and yes, the bad guys are Native Americans, but I think they handled race really interesting because, like, there are a few black characters, and even though they had kind of like lowly jobs, they were treated with a lot of respect. And then there was a Native American character played by the guy who played Hansi in the second season of Fargo, which is great. And he's like, I don't know if he's actually a professor, if they just call him professor, but he's like really smart and intelligent, and they all like respect him and stuff. And then like I think they did a solid job of making it clear that like the Native Americans who did some bad stuff aren't like regular Native Americans. They're like kind of like the boogeyman almost to the other Native Americans. And there's something kind of just mythical about them in general that I really liked. But yeah, so it was interesting. I liked it. It was good. It was a good time. I'm glad I'm up to 5 Patrick Wilson movies. He's in what, 3.67% of all movies I've watched in quarantine so far. I think that was the number. I did the math, and now I forgot. I should have wrote it down. I didn't do it. I don't plan things. Good job, me. All right, moving on to the next movie. Now on to Jackie. Look, it's Natalie Portman, my 5th Natalie Portman movie. I kind of did that on purpose. So this is a 2016 movie. Sorry, Natalie Portman, what? And then Peter Sarsgaard, Greta Gerwig, number 4 for her. Billy Crudup. Sure. And then John Hurt. There's also a bunch of other actors that are really good too, but I didn't want to list literally everyone in this movie. So this movie, the premise, it basically follows Jackie Kennedy in the weeks after the assassination of her husband, John F. Kennedy. It kind of jumps around a bit in time, but then it also, but it's mostly around that time, like just after the assassination. But then it also has, she did a TV interview thing where she took cameras into like a big tour of the White House, and it was a big deal because like it was the first time you got to see like the entire White House from the inside. So like they recreated all of that stuff, and I really liked that they did that because it helped like, I don't know, just kind of like show who she was or people's perception of who she was, and then also like, you know, what was really going on in her head, helped, I don't know, like contextualize her pain, sort of, if that makes sense. But yeah, it was great. I would say that Natalie Portman did phenomenal. Just like the way her mannerisms, the way she moves, the way she speaks, definitely felt like Jackie Kennedy. I guess. if I was going to complain about anything, it'd be like, I want more Greta Gerwig because she's just great and amazing. And she was just in like such a tiny amount of this movie. But she's awesome. The movie's just it's real slow, sad, and emotional. You're just like watching a woman kind of break down around, her husband just died. So it makes sense that it's, real sad and stuff. I also think they did a great use of like the close-up shot. Like you're like this close to Natalie Portman's face for a lot of the movie, but it helps and kind of bring you more into her mindset because you're just like uncomfortably close to her, and it's just like it's kind of unsettling, and she's really unsettled. And then like as she kind of relaxes, the camera slowly moves away from her. And I remember at one point I was like legit like kind of a sigh of relief as the camera was getting away more, just like subconsciously. But then suddenly we could see like finally her full dress, and the bottom of her dress was just like covered in blood. And I was just so taken aback because like she's been doing all of this stuff while still covered in blood. Like her face was really bad at the beginning of it, with from the gunshot. But yeah, no, it's literally her entire body had blood all over it, and we just didn't see it because it wasn't important. Yeah, it's really it's solid. I ended up putting this one in the quite light. I think this movie was shot incredibly well. I think it's a good story. I think it's an important story, especially if you're interested in that time period. I think I didn't put in really liked because I just didn't connect with it as much as I was hoping for. I don't know why I didn't really connect with it that much, but again, it is still really good. I mean, I guess it's not about my favorite president. My favorite president's FDR. FDR is the best. But yeah, it's good. It's good. Definitely recommend it. And finally, a Prospect. I'm really annoyed I couldn't get a more high-res version of this poster because I actually really love this poster. But yeah, this is a 2018 movie starring Sophie Thatcher, and the big draw is Pedro Pascal. You know him from The Mandalorian and from Game of Thrones. And yeah, this is a pretty neat little movie. I loved the aesthetic of the movie, just like the look of everything, the look of the ships, the look of the suits. The suits are incredible. The plants, all the fake plants and real plants, and then the guns are really cool too, because like they look practical, they look real. They also look different than other fake fantasy guns and stuff. And I love the world that they're in. It's just really interesting. I wasn't a huge fan of the story itself. It was okay. I mean, I think part of my reason why I kind of felt that way is just because it's really hard to understand the dialogue at times, because they are using made-up words. And I was like, there was like a whole scene that happened. I'm like, I have no idea what they just discussed. I have no idea what's happening. But then also they used the audio from them in their helmets, and they didn't like ADR anything. So like it is more realistic, I guess, but at the same time, it's hard to understand. But yeah, it was solid. I enjoyed it. I put it in the liked category. So yeah, if you're like a fan of sci-fi stuff, you just like the genre in general, I think it's worth checking out. It's not going to blow your mind or anything, but I think it's still interesting and neat. If you're not a fan of sci-fi, this isn't going to like change your opinion of the genre. But yeah, it's nice, pleasant, middle of the road movie. I enjoyed it.